Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so tonight we're going to be building Randy's PC. So, little bit of a background here on this one before we get started. This is a sort of a 90% new PC build, but we are going to be rolling over a couple of components from Randy's previous PC that he's traded in. So I had a look through the components of the system. I've given him a trade-in, so he's gotten a discount off this PC build, and we decided out of all the components we'd use the power supply. And we'd also roll over a hard drive as well. So, got a couple of parts from the old rig, but the core of this is a brand new PC. So, we've got the Ryzen 7 5700X 8-core 16-thread CPU. We've got the MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi motherboard. We have a 32GB kit of Kingston 3200MHz CL16 memory. We have a 2TB PNY NVMe SSD. We've also got the PNY RTX 4070 there. We've got a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler, the Deepcool LT520. Pardon me. And we're going to be putting it in the Deepcool Matrax 50 case with the 4 pre-installed addressable RGB fans. And we've got a 750 watt power supply here that we're going to roll over. It's relatively new and it's in decent shape, I think. So happy days. All right, well let's get stuck right into it. Okay. So we'll start with our CPU here. So Ryzen 7 5700X. One thing to consider with this CPU is it's not sold with a cooler. So if you weren't planning on buying an aftermarket cooler, you're going to have something in mind because they don't give you a stock cooler for it. So you might be looking at it going, oh yeah, that's not much more than the 5600X or something like that. But then you've got to consider the 5600X is sold with a stock cooler. So if you're on a tight budget, that's the whole thing that you need, the CPU and the cooler. Whereas if you go up and spend an extra $50 for the Ryzen 7 5700X, it might seem like it's only $50 more, but then you've actually got to buy that other cooler. So it's not a stock cooler is not rated for a 5700X. That's why it's not sold with one. So just an FYI. And with this one here, so we actually had there was actually going to be an MSI. An MSI 4070 here for this build, but it was unavailable at the time of purchase. So this customer had a slight last minute change to the configuration. So because I didn't want to charge them any more, and the PNY 4070 was $50 less, I put an extra $50 into the SSD, and we've gone with a 2TB SSD instead of a 1TB. So that's pretty good. You got a graphics card with the same warranty duration as the MSI, same sort of specs. That the cooler's roughly the same size. It's a two fan graphics card, etc., etc. And There we go. So yeah, good little last minute upgrade there. Alrighty, so that's our CPU, RAM and SSD installed. So let's get our cooler sorted. So the Deep Cool LT520 cooler is one of Deep Cool's new coolers. It comes with the 5-year warranty, which is the same as what you get on like a Corsair all-in-one cooler. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. A lot of the older generation Deep Cool coolers were, you know, a little bit on the cheap side, but these new ones that you've seen me use more and more of in the last sort of 12 months. These are from Deep Cool's new multi-billion-dollar factory in China, and these are really good quality coolers, and they come with 5-year warranties on them. So that's pretty much your badge of quality right there, seeing 5-year warranty on an all-in-one liquid cooler, because you can't be selling crappy coolers with a 5-year warranty where you lose literally all the money that you tried to make with the product. And that kind of defeats the purpose of having a product in the first place. So, yeah. So if you want to do an order, send me a message on Facebook. We can go through it all. So I don't have a website because my prices change all the time, because I don't have like a set range of parts or anything like that. And because I'm just one person, I don't have time to maintain pricing on a website. So the best way, if you want to get a PC, just send me a message and I'll send you a quote, and you have a look through it. Let me know if you want to make any changes, and we'll do an update and then send you an invoice with all the details, and we go from there. And so yeah, I'm a GST registered Australian business. All of my builds are on invoice. So yeah, there's no stuff off the back of the truck here or anything like that. You get the full manufacturer's warranty on the parts that are used in the build. So yeah, happy days. Alright, so we get a little bit of stuff in here. We got an Intel backplate, this thing here. Got the Intel bolts and stuff there. We've also got our AMD kit here. What's up?
Aaron says, cooler I have, oh my god, it's amazing.
Ah, yes. Yep. Now they're really, really good. As soon as they came out, I was like, oh, what have we got here? That looks like the kind of product that my customers would like. Because yeah, they're about $100 or so cheaper per unit than the Corsair ones, and the same warranty and stuff. And while Corsair RGB is awesome and you can do excellent things with it, you can do stuff with it that you can't with ordinary RGB. A lot of people, they'll have other devices that'll just be ordinary RGB, and the Corsair will be its own separate little ecosystem. So some people prefer to have non-Corsair RGB just because it syncs in better with everything else. And so if they can still get the same quality as the Corsair coolers, but, you know, without the Corsair price of the Corsair RGB, you know, that's a compelling offer. And that's what these new Deep Cool coolers truly represent.
Tim.
So happy days. Yeah.
Nicholas says good morning.
Hey Nicholas, how you going? Good to have you with us.
And George says hi, was going to see you.
Hey George, how you going? Good to have you with us.
Christopher wants to know what's the price for this build.
So this one's a little bit strange because this involved a trade-in of the previous system. So we're using some parts from the old build in this. It's mainly a new build because it's got a new CPU, motherboard, RAM, SSD, graphics card, and cooler. Just has a rolled over power supply and hard drive from the previous PC. So a PC with a 4070 is usually between 2,000 and 2,500. That's roughly where it's at right now, depending on the exact specs and stuff that you want with it. Okay, so this cooler here, like the other ones, has pre-applied thermal compound. So just be aware of that. Don't stick your fingers in it, because that's really annoying. Oh. This is probably the most awkward part of it, is attaching the brackets to the bottom. Once you get a bolt in each side, it's not too bad. But yes, like I said, you don't want to get the thermal paste all over your fingers.
Do you ship to Victoria, and how much is that usually?
So I ship to Victoria. Yeah, we ship nationwide. So basically, average shipping cost in Australia is about $60, and that includes signature on delivery. So basically, if you're not home, and there's no one there at your address to sign for it, the package gets taken to the local post office, and then you need photo ID to collect it. So it's nice and secure. No one can steal your PC. The only way that it gets stolen is if the contractor that delivers it does a dodgy on it, and then they're liable for it. So, but yes, that doesn't usually happen.
Ladios is here, everybody.
Hey Ladios, how you going? Good to have you with us as always. Alrighty, and then with the cables that come off your cooler, just sort of like wrap them around the bottom there, just so it stays neat and tidy and out of the way. And then, like I said, if you just press down a little bit on your cooler, you create a little bit of surface tension. Oh. A little bit of surface tension there with the thermal paste on the lid of the CPU will hold the cooler in place at least long enough for you to get a couple of nuts over those bolts. Very good. And then our radiator. So you can leave these little clips there on the hoses. I normally take them off because I think it looks cleaner. And just with the hoses sitting there. And then basically we just got our fans to attach to the radiator. So it's going to be mounted to the top. Oh. It's going to be mounted to the top of our case like this. So the heat from the cooler is going to be exhausted out the top of the case. And so just FYI, this bit here just comes off. So if you're looking at that coming loose and thinking, oh shit, he's broken the cooler. No, no, no. Not at all. It's got a magnet. So it sort of just like clips in place there, holds in place. And so we just got some high static pressure PWM fans that go on the radiator here. Okay, and so that is our board and cooler all prepped up and ready to go. So let's now turn our attention to the case. This was the 4070 we were meant to have. Imagine that go shatter. Viral moment.
Stuff like that's happened before though.
Viral moments. Okay, so around the back here we've got our usual cables to deal with. So you've got an included controller here in the case. We don't actually have to use that. So we can go ahead and use our addressable cable. So the addressable cable is good because then you can sync the fans in with the rest of the RGB on the board. So basically what you do is you have this one cable here. See it says main? So So that one goes into our controller up here. Now we want to plug main into this one here. This is our addressable cable. And so this one goes to the motherboard. So we'll actually plug this one into this cable here, and then this one will go into the motherboard. And then the lighting on our cooler block and all of our fans will be all controlled by the same RGB control. So that makes life a lot easier. The only thing you've really got to do is untangle these cables here. Now be careful to not freaking mess it all up too much. But you've got some cables here that are for the fans, and one cable that goes to the motherboard to control all of the fans. And so try to just tuck it behind the lip of the case there. You don't want to use a shitload of cable ties on all this, because as soon as you have a problem and you've got to replace one of those fans, it becomes a real pain. You do these little fine cables up with cable ties, and you've got to cut them all out with pliers. And that just increases the chance that you're going to make a human error and cut a cable, and then you'll break another fan. And yeah, you can see how that goes. Not very well. And same deal with the RGB cables. You can just kind of tuck them behind the lip there. Okay. So now let's get our power supply in. So this is from our other PC. So I'm assuming it's working. So I think the only downside with this power supply is just there's ketchup and mustard cables on it. So we'll conceal all that as much as possible. But there's going to be a little bit.
YouTube.
What's that, sorry?
Aaron wants to know what else are you streaming this build on?
Yeah, on YouTube as well.
Bailey. Oh, for fuck's sake. I am a dog too. Woof.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like outside at the moment. Little miss, what are you doing?
Alrighty, so we've got a 3.5 inch hard drive here. So, as we can see, we've got a couple of these drive trays here.
Good puppy. Get in your bed.
Alright, so with your hard drives, you really want to make sure that you get all the screws in place with them. Because they are mechanical, they have moving parts, they are subject to vibration stresses. So definitely make sure it's all done up tight. You want to know the easiest thing that'll kill a hard drive prematurely, it's excessive vibrations. I'm looking at you with the hard drive that's just loose in the bottom of your case. I know you're out there. Take the time to bolt it in properly. Okay, so I don't think we're going to have any other SATA cables. It's literally just we'll put in a new serial ATA cable as well. Alright, so look, it's time now to get our motherboard in the case. And so if you do have ketchup and mustard cables and your power supply is like alright quality and stuff, you might want to consider a kit of cable extenders. So you can get sleeved cable extenders, all different colours, and you can even get RGB addressable ones. So that's always an option there if you've got ketchup and mustard cables and you want to sort of neaten up the look. Because I know it can be a little bit when you're constantly looking at them. Alrighty, so just make sure you bend up these little clips here so you don't end up sticking them into the actual port on the motherboard. And then you'll also have a couple of the offsets to move around if you don't have a full-size ATX motherboard. If you've got a micro, you have to move 2 bolts.
people over the back. To the side. There's more people that live in there. They're in the backyard. Dogs are all there.
Okay. Okay, so up the top here, we've got our RGB, and it's got a daisy chainable cable, which can come straight back out the back. Okay, so we've got our pump plugged in, we've got our 4 fans plugged in, and we've got all of our RGB plugged in.
Yeah.
So I can put a couple more bolts in here on the top of the board. Okay. Let's just lay this down again real quickly. Alright, so let's plug in all of our stuff for the front. So we've got our fans on the radiator, got our front panel audio.
So,
Yeah.
Randy said, "Hey Tim, killing it, bro. So keen to test the rig."
Hey Randy, yes, this is Randy's PC that we're building right here. So yeah, happy days, this will be good. And Randy, I'm not sure if you saw, you ended up with a slightly different brand 4070, and then you got a 2TB SSD. So the card in the quote there I couldn't get, and then this card was a little bit cheaper, so then I was able to get you a 2TB SSD instead. So I figured you'd be pretty happy with that. Alright, so our front panel audio, sorry, not our front panel audio, our front panel connection, so our power switch and the case lights. Okay, so that's everything except our graphics card all hooked up. So I'll put a few more bolts in the motherboard. Okay, well, forgot to break this off. So as you can see, there's those capacitors there. I don't want to damage them, so very carefully break off one side, and then you can break off the other side like that. Alrighty. So yeah, it's basically exactly the same as the MSI card. It's got the same 3-year warranty. It's got a cooler that's roughly the same size. Okay. Oh, actually I got a couple more bolts to plug in up there. So now we've got our PC assembled. Now we can see whether it actually works. Because there's no point putting it together unless it actually works. Alrighty. So are we ready?
Yay.
Waiting for the RAM.
There it goes.
There we go. Show me a post. I'll be staring at different posts soon. Out on the farm.
Take old Yella out to the farm. No, Ma, she's my dog. I'll do. It's doing stuff. Yay. There it goes. It's BIOS now. Okay.
Alrighty, we got a Pro VDH Wi-Fi, so we're all good to go. we can go straight into a Windows install. No BIOS update required.
Can't wait to go back to work.
Alrighty. So let's get this all sorted. Two terabytes. So yes, you got the PNY upgrade.
Ooh. No. Oh, I'm sure there'd be plenty of people that would love that. Licorice ice cream. Licorice coated vanilla ice cream.
Isn't that something you'd like?
No. I don't like licorice that much.
But you drink the stuff.
What do you mean?
Root beer.
Different. Tastes different. I don't like black licorice.
Oh, this power supply's got a real chunky freaking cable. Seriously?
What's wrong? Won't it close?
Yeah, there's like a really chunky motherboard power cable.
Oh.
And it's just kind of sticking out. It closes, and then there's just like one little clip on the bottom there, because that power cable is just sticking out a little bit. Okay, so there's a couple of small SSDs here. So I think there's some user data on these. So grab my SSD, and I'll also grab, minus the fluffy mouth there, I'll grab my USB-C SATA drive reader. Yeah, don't worry, it doesn't take several minutes. It'll be done in just a second. Alrighty, so basically our SATA reader just plugs into the back of your drive, and then you can just plug that in the back of the PC. And now that SSD essentially is a it's like a USB stick.
That's what you get for trying to feed a green tree from. Lady tried to feed a green tree from it.
Okay, so explaining what's going on here. Looks like we've got system reserved. Okay, that looks like a recovery partition or something. We'll get rid of that. Local disk D, 1 terabyte. That'll be our hard drive. Oh God. That looks like a Windows install. Fuck me dead. SSD 2. That looks like this one here, and there's nothing on it. It's alright. Alright, let's try the other one. Gaming SSD. Alright, this looks like there's some games and stuff on it. Oh look, Steam games, they can just get reinstalled. You've got a new 2 terabyte SSD, so it's like 10 times the size of the other one. So that'll be good. Alright, so I'm gonna rename this. So when you if you want to render a drive like non-bootable, one other way you can sort of double make sure, you can go in and at the end of the Windows, edit the name of the folder and call it windows.old. Okay, so that can come out. Alright. So do we have, I'm going to assume that there's data on this. user data. Just a quick look in Windows disk management. Yeah, see we've got those other partitions there on it. We're gonna have to get rid of them, make sure it's a non-bootable drive, because we've got our new operating system there. We don't want any confusion with that. Okay, no problems at all. Sorry for that little bit of a deviation there. We just had some drives from the previous PC that we had to manage.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fluffy Meow. Are you trying to tell me something? Are you hungry? You want Fluffy Meow food? You want some chicken? I think you do. Fluffy Meow. You're a sweet.
You finally worked it out.
He's like, really?
Okay. Alright. Get our time zone correct. Alright, we'll get some basic software installed.
Wouldn't have surprised me if it was, but
No.
it just sounded like it at first. I was like, oh, no, that's clean over.
But we got the thing is in Queensland we have limited shoot laws because it's all about not killing
true.
people
They could've
over
just
stupid
turned
shit.
the lights off, but the bike sounded like it pulled over, so.
Yeah. That's always good because I fucking hate hearing about the police dying. I hate hearing about the random people dying from pursuits. Because it's like a a split-second thing, and it changes people's
down in New
lives.
South Wales, they don't do that. And then,
Nah.
like last year, was it? An older lady died because of it.
Mm-hmm.
When the cops crashed into her or
Yeah.
something.
Yep. Not saying that people should be able to get away from the police. I'm just saying that, yeah, shouldn't have people dying.
It was in suburbia and they were like absolutely flying.
Okay, so we're going to install Partition Assistant. So we're going to clean up that drive. Okay, so this one here with drive D. This is the one here. So delete, delete, and delete. And we'll merge the partitions there. And there's also let me start that again. So one thing about this software, it's good to do everything in a row. Alright, so we've applied what we want there to our drive D. We just want the data. We don't want any of the boot and Windows partitions remaining on the drive. We just want drive D there. So we're going to go and click apply. And we're going to proceed. So yeah, AOMI Partition Assistant is not software that goes on everyone's computer because it is software that you could potentially do some damage to your system with. Well, not so much physical damage to your system, just in terms of the file structure. You could make it so you need to do a full fresh install and delete everything off your drives and start again. If you don't know what you're doing with this software. Windows disk management won't let you delete certain things. It assumes that you're an idiot and won't let you do certain things that could be harmful. That's why I have to use this software when I want to do very specific things with drives. And so I don't leave it on people's computers and stuff like that. You never know, the kids are playing around with it and shit like that. Just shouldn't be there. Alrighty, that's like pretty much done. Okay, so we should be just about done here. Yeah.
Something cool, Keanu Reeves' band just released a new album.
Oh, okay.
They're doing a tour for the first time for like fucking forever.
Oh, true.
That's cool.
I think that's everything we need for this. Just wait for this to do its magic.
Blizzard is bringing games to Steam,
Oh, cool.
starting with Overwatch. It's a fairly popular game. I think people play that one. Has he eaten all his chicken?
No. Are you surprised?
No.
He likes to leave it there all night.
Mm-hmm.
Once it starts to rot a bit, he really likes it. In all honesty, it probably helps him digest it. Probably does. It's gross to us, but probably fine for the cat.
Oh, I'm sure it is. They eat like dead rodents.
Yeah. Okay, that's all done. That's done. So what we're doing here with AOMI is we're removing the Windows boot partitions and recovery partitions from a hard drive, and we're keeping all of the data on that hard drive. So we're going to have a drive there with a Windows file structure, but all of our user data is still going to be there. So any of our stuff that was like files that were on the desktop, files in the like documents folder, photos folder, downloads folder, etc. All that stuff is still going to be there. However, all of your software and apps will have to be reinstalled. That's just how it goes. And what it's doing is it's extending the partition to fill up that extra space. So we're going to have a little bit more space. It doesn't make much of a difference here. It's just a case of being neat and tidy. And since we're not going to be using those partitions anymore, we're just going to merge them back in to the main partition that we're storing stuff on. And then we can go ahead and we can do whatever we want with this drive. We could delete everything on it and start again. We can leave it all as is.
somebody actually beat back at the truck.
I heard that.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard a car beat back at the truck.
Really?
Like, I know it happens, but... Because obviously it would, but... Yeah.
Okay, it's still doing its thing. So sometimes it forces a restart with that AMD chipset driver. So I just want to make sure that this completes correctly before we do that. Alright, this is definitely a little bit boring while this is completing. Alright, everything looks like it's installed anyway. Yeah.
Benji says hi, guys.
Hey Benji, how you going? Good to have you with us. This is definitely slowing down our night. Let's run the gaming benchmarks on it. I know we haven't done our restart on it, but we've got our CPU, got our memory running at full speed, we've got graphics card drivers, so let's do it. Yeah.
Benji says sorry for picking your brain all day.
Nah, that's all good. Ah, that's fine. I'm just sorry to anyone who like thinks like sometimes in text, like I feel like sometimes I say things and I'm like, does that sound like I'm being rude? But I don't mean if ever I sound like I'm being rude, I probably don't mean it. There might be some times when I'm being rude, but like most of the time I don't.
How do you know? How do you know?
Alrighty, so while this is doing its thing, we'll run the gaming benchmark. So we'll run Heaven here on high, no anti-aliasing. And all this writing that's on the screen here. So up the top, our GPU, that's our graphics card. We've got our temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage. We've got our VRAM, which is the green mem there, usage and clock speed. We've got our CPU, temperature, usage, clock speed, and wattage. Down here we've got our RAM usage, and this number here below RAM is how many frames per second it's currently running at. And so just bear in mind that the system is doing some stuff in the background, and it does have updates that it wants to install for Windows and all that. So it might not be running completely perfectly, but it should be running decently. All of the drivers are installed, at least some iteration of the drivers. So, but you'll probably see the CPU usage spike up and the graphics card usage drop down and stuff like that, because it's doing stuff in the background. Yeah.
And she says, no, not at all. You were fantastic.
Ah, cheers. Your old Windows install.
Yes, I saved like some memes and I'm just like, where is it? Huh? But there's...
Alrighty. So that was heaven there. And how are we going? Oh, all operations have been completed successfully. Look at that. Well, since everything's all done over here, and look at that, local disk. Windows.old. Perfect. Alright, so thank you AMD team for your wonderful software that I'm going to uninstall it here from the end user's house. The end user's house. the end user's computer, so that when it's back at the end user's house, no naughty kids get a hold of it and start playing around with things. We don't want any dangerous software on the computers. Alright, so I can go ahead and install that. And then we got Valley and Superposition to run.
Yes. Timothy says, hi Tim, do you ship to South Australia?
Hey, yes I do. Ship nationwide, so happy days. Okay.
Yes. Timothy wants to know, looking at a new gaming PC soon with 3K be decent build?
Yeah. Yeah, so the average person right now is spending about 1,500 to 3 grand on a gaming PC. So you would be at 3 grand, that's sort of like upper mid-range. So you're getting something like pretty good, like it'll play every modern game on high settings, etc., etc. $3,000 is like an i7 Ryzen 7 with like a 4070 Ti, 32 gigabytes of RAM, liquid cooler, decent case, plenty of storage, etc. Alright, so the next one we run on this is Valley on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. So Valley's a more demanding benchmark than Heaven, and we're running it on higher settings here. Yeah.
They're releasing a special distribution of this guy for Pokemon Violet and Scarlet.
Oh. Oh, yep,
So we
I
might have
remember.
to go to EB Games.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually wouldn't mind that Pokemon. He's pretty cool. Grimmsnarl.
Head on down to EB Games.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're having a sale.
Fire sale. They're always having a
Do you
fire
reckon
sale.
they'll be having a sale if I go down to EB Games?
Well, of course. Oh, Jesus, no. Tim.
Jesus. Holy shit, that's a long way.
He's a professional that does it all the time.
Jesus.
34.25 meters. That's a long way to jump.
Yeah, I was going to say that looks like 3 times further than I've ever done it. I've done like 10 meters into a deep rock pool before. Like, it's a rock pool with like known depth.
Mm. Ha, that would be so cool. Living near that sphere.
Oh.
Something like that.
Yeah. Alrighty, so that was Valley there on Ultra with max anti-aliasing, and then finally we're gonna run Superposition. Till I'm getting tired. So Superposition we run at 4K.
Timothy says, it sounds good, I'll be in touch soon.
Yeah, no worries, man. Just send me a message via Facebook. That's the best way to get in contact with me. Because Facebook has a nice notification that gives me a notification on my phone that someone has sent me a message. Whereas emails come through, but they it's not like instant. It takes like a little bit of time for them to come through. And I don't necessarily get a notification on my phone for every single email that I receive. However, Facebook messages I do. So you can always get in contact with me relatively quickly on Facebook. If I'm not replying on Facebook, that means I'm under the pump. Oh God. Okay, so one more restart there, and then we'll do the stress test on it, and that'll be pretty much it. So I mean, our power supply should be fine because it's already sort of been stress tested. It's already been hooked up to another PC.
Randy
Yeah.
says looking good, my dude. 2 gigabyte SSD speed.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. I was just like, I'm like, went to purchase your card, and it was out of stock. So I was like, damn. So it's like, oh, I'm not gonna go back to him and go, oh, it's fucking out of stock, so I have to charge you more for this other card. Nah, I was like, nah, the PNY ones there. I know the PNY ones are good. They're a relatively unknown brand, but they're doing what they can to make inroads. So yeah, good value. It's like I said, it's basically the same as the MSI card. Like the size of the cooler, like the metal radiator that's strapped to the top of the card, and the fans, basically the same size. So in terms of the cooling capacity and the performance of the cards, pretty much for muchness. So yeah, the same 3-year warranty on both cards, and then the SSD that you've got there's 2 terabytes. There's a 5-year warranty on it as well. So happy days. And that should be all good over there, and we should be able to do our stress test now. That can be done later. And so this PC is all ready to be updated to Windows 11. So that'll be all good to go for you as well. It's an optional update. You can leave it on Windows 10 still if you want, or you can update to Windows 11. You don't need any technical knowledge to do the update. It's just like a Windows update. You'll select, yes, I want Windows 11, and then you'll turn off your computer one night, then the next day you turn it on, you'll have Windows 11. Okay, so we just let this one run for 90 minutes, but I do want what hardware I want it to open. Make sure our cooler is cooling and doing all that sort of stuff. So basically what this is, we're stressing out the CPU and the graphics card at the same time. But as you can see with our cooler on there, even when we're stressing out our CPU, it's not even getting over 55 degrees there. So that cooler is doing an excellent job at cooling. How's our graphics card looking? And same with our graphics card. It's not even getting over 60 degrees there. So it can get up to 83 degrees on the GPU. Memory and hotspot can get over 100 degrees. So plenty of headroom there. And then our CPU can get up to 95 degrees. So it's running about half the temperature there. So happy days. Like I said, we let this one run for 90 minutes just to run a bit of power through it, make sure it gets up to temperature and nothing's overheating or anything like that. Just as like a little bit of an extra insurance, so that I don't have any problems once I hand it over to you, because I don't have like a big team of people to like fix computers and sort out problems and stuff. I've got to make sure, got to do everything I can like reasonably to ensure that your PC is completely fine, no problems, and it's going to work for you once you pick it up or I ship it off. But yes, So yeah, this is the point of the night where I throw it over to anyone else who's got any other final questions for me.
Can you turn it a bit? Yeah. There we go.
So
It's
yes.
still sticky on it.
Yes. Just so I don't put any thumbprints on it.
Yeah,
It looks fairly clear. It doesn't look all like gross.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, happy days. It's nice and clean and tidy. I've covered up those catch for mustard cables as much as possible.
Is it not the MSI GPU? Is that cheaper version? No.
Is it not the MSI GPU? Is that cheaper? Yeah. So basically, that was the thing. It's the same spec on the card. Like they are both RTX 4070s. They both have 2 fans on the cooler. It was just one wasn't available. The MSI one wasn't available, and as this one was a little bit cheaper, I was able to double your SSD capacity in lieu of that. So happy days.
Use PMY cards. Oh, you've got 48 of them on you.
Yeah.
They're good cards.
Yeah.
It's not
I've
like
used
shit.
this brand plenty of times. They might not be known to many people, but yeah.
Intermellows is awesome.
Sweet as, thanks man. But yes, you'll be happy with it.
Bloody else is very clean build. Once again, I love how high the GPU is for the bottom, more airflow to have. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's why, some people don't like using micro ATX boards in an ATX case, whereas I like to route the cables behind the board there so it still stays not all nice and clean and clear at the bottom there. And yeah, plenty of airflow at the bottom there. If we put it in a micro ATX case, then we lose about 3 PCIe slots worth of height. So the graphics card is like right down the bottom there. It's like it's 3 slots lower. So that can be a problem. But yeah, I mean, with this, you can just see plenty of airflow over the CPU, over the graphics card, and you can see the result when you have a look at the temperatures here while we're doing the stress test. I mean, look at that. And look at that. Just not getting hot at all. If you wanted to, you could go and overclock the shit out of all this. Go nuts. It'll stay cool for you. So, yeah, happy days.
Somebody else says enjoy the PC, Randy.
Sweet as. So I think Randy's over on Facebook and Latios is on YouTube land. So,
Yeah.
so Randy, you've gotta enjoy the PC from someone over in YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Oh yeah, no, this is a big. He's not gonna know himself because he's got a 4070 now. Yeah, that's a big upgrade because Randy's come from a GTX 1060 6GB, and although it's the 1066 gigabyte, which is the good version, there is a 3GB version that's not really as good. But yes, 1060 to 4070 is a massive jump up. So yeah, happy days. Alrighty, well, I think that might be it for the night. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.